Right.
Thank you.
Well, let's try that, huh? Well, first I want to go back to the earlier lecture, and then I'll move through time a little bit here if you'll be willing to move with me. But first what I wanted to talk about was the Solomonic period, and where both Professors Mazar and Finkelstein differ as well as agree, just so we get some clarity there. And if I'm misrepresenting either one of you, please speak up. Okay, so let me just summarize here. Professors Mazar and Finkelstein do not differ greatly on the matter of David and Solomon's history or historicity, the idea that Jerusalem, regardless of its relative size, was a power center, and three, that the biblical portrait of David and Solomon reflects a significant degree of exaggeration or embellishment. But nevertheless, there's an historical core reflected behind these traditions for David and Solomon. Is that a fair representation so far? They disagree, however, on the relative size of Jerusalem in the 10th century, and therefore, by implication, David and Solomon's exercise of power, how much power they actually had, and what kind of influence they had locally and regionally. Now, that also has further implications, and these are things for you to think about. When you return to the biblical text and ask the question, so how did the biblical writers write what they wrote? These results have different implications for how we understand what the biblical writers were doing when they wrote. Were they using materials with regard to David and Solomon in a fragmentary nature, or did they have more materials, more traditions, more memories, more complete traditions passed down, or were these traditions more vague and fragmented and at times even impossible to identify for us because they're so integrated into the narrative itself? You see, those have massive implications for how you and I understand biblical writers wrote what they wrote. And these are the questions that really